You know how it goes.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
What's up, Montana? Welcome in. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. If you don't see us on SWX Montana Television, well, we're not there. We are here at Jewelry Design Center, part of our biggest giveaway of the summer. Post Malone and Jelly Roll coming to town on July 21st. We're giving you a chance to come hang out and win tickets. I'm Coulter Nuanez, coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. I'll be hanging out down here until 6 p.m., so come hang out with us. This is easy. All you got to do is come say hi. I'm outside. I'm giving away ESPN sunglasses, ESPN hats. I got some paddleheads tickets. I also have some swing cards to DBAT, the best batting cages in the city of Missoula. But then to sign in for the concert, you got to go inside. Go talk to all my new friends in there. Jaden's working behind the desk. Nick is sitting there serving some refreshments. A bunch of great people, part of the Jewelry Design Center staff. And then all you do is you just put your name on a card. Boom, you put it right there in the box, and you're entered in to win. Most of the time we make you hang out all for the entire remote before we do the drawing. But today, all you have to do is just put your name in the box, explore the jewelry store for a couple minutes, and you're entered in to win. And we'll do the drawing a little bit later on. And then we will announce the winner tomorrow on the show. We'll also be coming to you on the U1045, our sister station as well. So happy to be here. It's a wonderful, beautiful summer day. Nice doing the show outside. It's funny, I do the show outside, it seems like every single Saturday during football season, September, October, November, December. But very rare that I get to do one outside during the summer months. So this is it's a fun deal. Fun to be down here, and I'm certainly excited to let it rip here today. So if you can, please do swing down and get yourself entered in to win tickets to the biggest show of the summer. We got plenty coming up for you here today. As promised, second hour, we got two of the greatest Grizz quarterbacks, really, of all time. One, the entrenched greatest Grizz quarterback of all time. It's Dave Dickinson. He's the 1995 Walter Payton Award winner. Our guys from the Cussin' and Discussin' podcast caught up with him earlier this week. I guess last week it would have been. That's part of the Grizzly Football Players Association. The connection here, first of all, if you have Dave Dickinson at your disposal, then you have him on the show, right? I mean, you play at least an excerpt of that interview. But also, the owner of Jewelry Design Center, Brian Toon, he was on the 1995 Grizzlies with Dave Dickinson. Brian, in an effort to bring former Grizz football players together, has founded the at least been one of the founders of the Grizzly Football Players Association. He was the president of it. He since passed that off to our good buddy Ty Hobbs. But either way, Brian and Dave go way back. So I figured since we're at JDC, have Dickinson on the show. And then it might sound like a hyperbole a little bit because the young man's only going into his second year as the full-time starter for the Grizz. But Kale Ayat had one of the all-time great seasons in the history of Grizz football a couple years ago. 2 years ago, I think he could have had a great season, but it was a whole quarterback carousel. That was a much-covered and a horse that was beaten dead. So we won't talk about that one too much here today. But last year, no question, doesn't matter who you are or which lens you're using, was one of the great single seasons by a Grizz quarterback in in the history of Grizz football. Kalei outled the country in passing yards. He was one of, I think, only 3 Grizz quarterbacks to ever throw for more than 4,000 yards in a single season. He was first-team All-Big Sky, landed on multiple All-American lists, and he is primed for a gigantic junior year. So very much looking forward to catching up with him. This is actually crazy to say. It's sort of a sign of the times and a sort of the sign of the evolution of Grizz football. But Ayat, this is his first one-on-one appearance on this show since he was a recruit. Because when he was a freshman, freshmen are off limits to the media. Then when he was a redshirt freshman starter, we had him on the show twice, but it was just post-game interviews after they won against Northern Colorado, and then it was another, that was a road game, and there was another home game that Ayat was on the show with us as well. But that was not a one-on-one. So this is technically Ayat's debut on Nuanez Now, which is crazy to say because he's going into his 4th year at the Grizz. He's been an all-time great player, but they have not allowed a lot of access to their players and specifically to their quarterbacks. But now, as we know, a changing of the guard with Bobby Haupt leaving for Illinois and Bobby Kennedy taking over as the head coach. So that's sort of the indicative of that, right? So that's your hour number 2. Hour number 1, we're also going to talk some Grizz football when it comes to the schedule. I want to start doing schedule breakdowns into Big Sky Conference over-unders. We are statewide television right now on SWX, but we are broadcasting out of Missoula, Montana. I'm sitting here on the front porch of Jewelry Design Center, so we will start with the Grizz when it comes to our Big Sky over-unders. So if you haven't been following along, we've done this each summer. What we do is we break down the schedule of each Big Sky Conference team, and we give you what we think are surefire wins, like almost certain they're going to win, games that maybe are either surefire losses or possible, potential, or even likely losses. And then we give you the coin flip games, the middle games. Then we use that to sort of formulate what we think their over-under win total should be. So I've not done this yet with any of the Big Sky teams. I'm going to do this straight off the cuff. So this is straight freelancing right now on live radio. So buckle up. It should be fun. I have no idea what I'm going to say or what I think the Grizz over-under is going to be. I think the Grizz are going to be pretty good next year, but I actually do want to look at the schedule and see where we're at with that. We're also going to have our latest Diamond Time, talking all things Missoula Paddleheads. We do have plenty of Paddleheads tickets for you. We'll give those away today if you come see me, and then tomorrow if you call into the show, so stay tuned for that. We also have some tickets to the Absolute Fight Factory MMA event that's coming up at Big Sky Brewing on July 11th. So that's going to be a fun one as well. So we have tickets to all sorts of stuff, so keep it tuned for that. But during our Diamond Time, we'll give you an update on what's going on with the Paddleheads and what's going on in Major League Baseball. And we also have our latest Treasure State Stars, highlighting some of the best individuals and their performances from the week that was. So jam-packed show for you. If you want to listen to it live, you want to come see me, you want your chance to win tickets, come on down to Jewelry Design Center, 2501 Brook Street, right across from the Montana Club. Jewelry Design Center, where they want to be your jeweler for life. The only real news brief I have in the recruiting game, we talked about Cannon Richmond yesterday, and he is the great Three Forks quarterback that was sort of a swing recruit, getting recruited heavily by both Montana and Montana State. He committed to Montana State over the weekend, which then adds just fuel to the fire when it comes to the in-state recruiting battle. One guy, though, that the Grizz were tracking was the son of Johansi Manzanares. Johansi Manzanares was a great defensive end for the Grizz in the mid-1990s. The Grizz were on him hard and heavy. They wanted him as a running back, but the younger Manzanares, he committed to Wyoming today. So that's the one news brief, the one tidbit I got for you when it comes to the recruiting game. But as I said yesterday on the show, you're going to see a ton of verbal commitments coming up here in upcoming weeks. The reason for that is twofold. One, individual camps on each of the respective Montana campuses just got done last week. There's another set coming up later on this week. And there's also official visits going on during the weekends. I think last weekend the Grizz had some guys on campus. I know last weekend the Cats had some guys on campus. I know there's another big weekend of visits coming up this weekend as well. So you're going to see it comes in waves, right? the first wave when the Grizz got 7 verbal commits there in April, that's because they had their junior day. They had guys around. They had them on campus doing the photo shoots, all that sort of stuff. Well, now the next wave, especially some of the out-of-state guys, they've been on campus. You've seen a collection of out-of-state guys give their commitments to both Montana and Montana State in recent days. Grizz, mostly the out-of-state guys that have been committing. The Cats, a few in, a few out-of-state. But as we stand here, 13 verbal commitments for the Grizzlies and 12 for Montana State. So we'll give you the whole list probably later on this week, but that's where we're at with in-state recruiting. Nuanez Now live from Jewelry Design Center. Post Malone tickets on the line. All you got to do is put your name in the box. Please come do so. Let's dive in. Grizz football schedule. So here, first of all, here's the exercise. I'm going to just read through these games, and then we'll go back through, and I'll tell you who I think are the surefires, who are the potential pitfalls, and who's some of the flip games, who are the games that will be the determining deal. That's the one thing I'll always lead with, is I think that in the FCS, it's not necessarily if you lose, it's almost certainly when you lose, and then how do you respond to that loss. If you were to have been judging Montana State based on their first 2 weeks of the season, and specifically based on their second week of the season last year, nobody could have possibly predicted that Montana State would run the table and go win the national championship. I think people thought they were going to be good. Even with a 59-13 loss to Oregon in Eugene, I think that was actually a pretty valiant effort, and I think that was actually affirmed when Oklahoma State went and lost 70-14 in Eugene the next week. That was sort of an eye-opening deal. But South Dakota State was a good team, and at the time, I think people thought they were a great team, a real deal national championship contender. But the Cats were pretty up and down. Justin Lamson had not become what he would become. The run game had not become what it had become. Would become. The reshuffling of the offensive line had not been solidified. How stout the defense became, that had not been solidified either. So if and when you lose, how do you respond? Montana State used that South Dakota State loss, and they responded in short order. They cleaned up so much, and they won 14 straight games and won their first national championship since 1941. I think swing games happen on the schedule all the time, and you never know when one's going to happen. And I think sometimes the fans in Montana, they don't understand necessarily how much a win can be a swing. In other words, like what happens if the Grizz lose in Pocatello last year instead of winning 41-38? Well, maybe that's a huge boost for Idaho State, and now they're rolling. But instead that was a loss for Idaho State, and now they're sitting at 2-5, and they're wondering, okay, where do we turn from now? They deserve credit for picking up the pieces and surging. I mean, it's crazy to say that a team that finished 500 surged, but a team that starts 2-5 that finishes 6-6, that's a good finish. And 6-6 for Idaho State in Cody Hawkins' third year is a good year. But who knows what would have happened in that game? Like the swing game that happened in 2023, there was 2 of them. But the number one swing game was when Montana State went to Idaho and couldn't buy a bucket. They could not hit a field goal. They had the most uncharacteristic turnovers, and Idaho bounces back from a narrow loss to Montana and beats Montana State. Swing game on all 3 sides, right? For the Grizz, that was their second of what would become a 10-game winning streak, and also led in some fashion to them drilling Montana State in Missoula, a month and a half later. On the Idaho side, you drop both those home games to the Montana schools, and now you're trying to pick up the pieces. You don't know what happened to your season, and you're probably going to have to do whatever you can to even sneak into the playoffs, let alone get a playoff seed. For the Cats, they were riding high at that time, and they lose that game, and it fell apart on them, and they ended up losing 5 games by the time the season was done. And it was the only time they didn't go to the Final Four in Brant Vigen's previous 5 years. So these swing games happen all the time in the Big Sky. Okay, enough of that. Enough of setting the table. Let's get into it. So here's Montana's schedule next year if you haven't been paying attention. They got Southern Utah coming to Washington Grizzly on August 29th. They got Drake coming to Washington Grizzly on September 5th. They got Utah Tech coming to Washington Grizzly on September 12th. So 3 straight home games in which they should be heavily favored to start the season. Then what I think is one of the first, I'm not even going to call it a swing game, but I think it could be actually a coin flip game, and that's with the Grizz going to Oregon State for the first road game of the Bobby Kennedy era. And you get a chance to play against a revamped Pac-12. Who knows what sort of quality they are. We'll get to that one in a minute. Then the Grizz are at UC Davis, so back-to-back home games against two of the best teams on your schedule. Then they come back home, Northern Colorado, Washington Grizzly Stadium, at Northern Arizona in Flagstaff on October 10th. Then October 17th, Idaho Vandals come to town, and that's going to be a game with a lot of eyes on it because of the respective fan bases and because it's the battle for the Little Brown Stein. Then the Grizz take their bye on October 24th, and then Eastern Washington hosts Montana on Halloween, a Halloween Saturday in Cheney at the Inferno. Then the Grizz come home for their final two home games, November 7th, Portland State, and November 14th against Idaho State. And then the Brawl in Bozeman, November 21st. And that one could be, it's always for a lot, but that one could certainly be for a lot, just depending on how each of these two seasons play out. Okay, so there's your slate. That's your 12 games you got on the docket. Let's break each one of them down. Southern Utah, I'm saying win. First of all, I'll just give you the long and short of it. I'm saying win for the first three, and that has nothing to do with anything besides the Grizz have lost 38 home games in the last 40 years. And if you were to break down who those home games are against, the Cats have won 5 or 6 times in Missoula over the last 25 years, ever since they snapped the streak in 2002. So that's a handful of them. They've lost home games in the playoffs, not often, but more often than not, because almost always when the Grizz make the playoffs, they're playing at home. So you hearken back to when they lost to Wofford in 2007, UMass in 2006, Cal Poly in 2005, Coastal Carolina in 2013. On down the line, you can name several, if not maybe even double-digit home playoff losses. So that's half. That's half your home losses about right there. So all due respect to Southern Utah and to Drake and to Utah Tech, I just don't see any of those teams. Like, when's the last time the Grizz lost a non-conference home game to a team they were heavily favored over? They've almost lost. 2008, they had the scare against Central Washington. They barely pulled it out, 38-35. 2023 against Ferris State, a D2 power themselves. They pulled that one out, 17-10. But almost always, the Grizz figure out a way to get it done, even if they do take it down to the wire. So, again, no offense to Southern Utah or Drake or Utah Tech. Those teams just aren't coming into Missoula and winning. But I do expect Southern Utah to be a good first weekend test for the Grizz. Lance Robinson is there as the head coach. He was at Stanford as the defensive coordinator for over a decade. He coached some good defenses down there. They were a competitive team a year ago. So I think that they will have at least some athletes that are man for man as good or better than what the Grizz have at their disposal. Southern Utah also has a couple entrenched advantages. Even though it's in Utah, it's only about 2.5 hours from Las Vegas, and they've done a great job mining that recruiting territory. They also have a great inroads with LDS missionaries. I don't know if it's as strong with Lance Robinson as it was under Ed Lamb. Ed Lamb did a great job with that, and he had some tremendous guys that had experience in life as much as experience on the football field. So I think that, Southern Utah comes in and can hang on the lines, and they can run the ball. And, they're a handful for the Grizz. That won't surprise me at all. It would shock me if they came in here and win. So that's a win. Drake, week 2. Drake is a proud program. They've won the Pioneer Football League several times. They've been to the FCS playoffs a handful of times. They were in the FCS playoffs a year ago. In the playoffs, they were sort of competitive with North Dakota State. I think they ended up losing 38-17. But they're a winning program that has some good players. But again, I do not expect a team from a non-scholarship league to come into Washington Grizzly Stadium and bounce the Grizz. I just don't see that happening. So I'm saying win. 2-0 start for the Grizz. Utah Tech, Grizz played them in 2023. I thought that was it wasn't the turning point of their year, but I thought it was foreshadowing to the turning point of their great run in 2023, because the first 2 weeks of that year, they were just splitting time between Sam Vidlak and Clifton McDowell with varying results. You saw some flashes from Vidlak, you saw some flashes from McDowell, but you also saw some big-time struggles from both those quarterbacks. Well, then I think Vidlak was a little banged up in the Utah Tech game down in St. George, and the Grizz decided, we're just going to get out, and slam the door on these guys. Nothing fancy. We're just going to run some quarterback run game stuff with Clifton McDowell. We're going to control the clock. We're going to get out of town. And they did that, and McDowell was really good in the +1 run game. And that was sort of foreshadowing for when they actually made the decision a couple weeks later to go with McDowell, play that style of offense, and the rest is history. They ran the table. They went all the way to the FCS championship game for the first time since 2009. Utah Tech, again, I think St. George is a great place. I think it's a really cool town. I think it's got great golf. It's a fun place to go cover a road game in the heart of the desert, beautiful weather. I think St. George is a cool community that has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to do. The Trailblazers are not coming in to Missoula and winning that game. So 3-0. Then we get to what I think there's two pivotal stretches for the Grizz. I think it's their fourth and fifth games to finish conference play and finish non-conference play, and begin conference play. And then the other pivotal stretch is the last two games of the regular season. One at home against Idaho State, the other on the road against Montana State. But the first pivotal stretch is when they go on the road for the first time, and then the second time in back-to-back weeks. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio coming to you live from Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center wants to be your jeweler for life. Whatever you want, whatever you can imagine, whatever you can desire, they can design it for you. We are down here because we're giving away free tickets to Post Malone and Jelly Roll. That's coming up a little bit short of a month from today. July 21st at Washington Grizzly Stadium. So if you want to get entered in to win tickets to Post Malone, come on down to Jewelry Design Center. Go inside, meet the friendly staff, sign up, put your name in the registration box, and hope you get lucky. We'll be making the drawing a little bit later on. But if you want tickets to the biggest show of the summer, come on down to Jewelry Design Center and to get signed up for free tickets to Post Malone. All right, so when the Grizz go to Oregon State, I think that on the surface you'd say most years you got Corvallis. It's a good season. It's a good venue. It's a strong program. They've been to bowls before. But the trajectory of Oregon State is all over the place. The Pac-12 is no more. Oregon State itself has a brand-new head coach. They got sort of denied from Brent Vigen, who was in the mix there and then decided to stay at Montana State. So I think that this is not if the Grizz are playing Oregon State in 2019 or 2021, I think you say book it. Oregon State's going to roll. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. You got a completely mysterious Oregon State program, whereas you got a Grizz program that, even though there is a lot of unanswered questions, they know what their identity is going to be. It's going to be Kaylee Ayat, Eli Gilman, Brooks Davis, all the tight ends they got at their disposal. They're going to try to run up the score. So, I also think there's the element of the fact that in 1996, Brian Ayat was taken over for the greatest quarterback in Grizz history. That's Dave Dickinson. Dave Dickinson will join us on this show here in about 35 minutes. Brian Ayat was in his, I think, third game as a starter, and the Grizz went to Corvallis, and they beat Oregon State. They went down there and actually drubbed them, 35-7. That set the stage for that Grizz team winning 15 games in a row. They hit a brick wall, and they lost to Marshall in the 1996 National Championship game. But maybe history repeats itself 30 years later with Kaylee Ayat leading the Grizz down to Corvallis. I don't know. I'm putting that game as a coin flip. So right now we got 3 in the for sure win column, 1 in the coin flip column, and 1 in the loss column. UC Davis is the first road game of the year for the Grizz. I think that Montana, I think they go down there as the favorite, even though Davis has been perennially very strong, because Davis is in a similar situation as Oregon State. They got the same head coach in Tim Plow, who's a very, very good head coach, but they got a new quarterback. Their quarterback left them high and dry. Caden Pennick's going to be the starting guy at Washington State. And I heard he got about $800,000 to go there to Pullman, which is pretty crazy to turn down. Hard to say no, and that's why he's on the move after being the not just Big Sky Conference Freshman of the Year, but the National Freshman of the Year as well. But it's going to be a transition for Davis to have a new quarterback. So that's the number one thing to watch with Davis. But I do think that the Grizz go down there as the slight favorite, even with Davis being a playoff seed the last 2 years. But I'm putting that in the coin flip category, but I'm leaning lost there just because I think a conference game on the road, late September, who knows what your injury situation is coming off of that game in Corvallis. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Then we get into the meat of the schedule where I think the Grizz have a chance to really get rolling. Northern Colorado comes to Missoula. I think Montana rolls in that game. We don't need to spend much time breaking it down. I don't know what the future holds for Northern Colorado other than just being the doormat in the Big Sky Conference for the foreseeable future. So I'll put that in the win column. That's 4. And then the Grizz play at NAU in Flagstaff. I think those are the swing games. You got at UC Davis, at Northern Arizona, at Montana State. Those are the 3 swing games in conference play, plus you put the Oregon State game in there as well. Idaho, I know a lot of people on the national level want to talk like Idaho is going to be a very competitive team this year. Joshua Wood certainly gives them a shot as the quarterback. He's an electric player. But I got to see more out of Idaho than what I saw last year. Idaho took a serious step back. They were a playoff team multiple years in a row, and then they were a playoff seed during the height of Jason Eck. Last year, it unraveled on them. And that's what I'm talking about with these swing games. You win one, you lose one, you have a close one. Well, Idaho lost a couple close, and then they lost a couple big, and then all of a sudden they're sitting there looking around like, what the heck happened? They're 4-8. They're on the outside of the playoff picture. That's it. So I am way more lukewarm on the Vandals than most of the national pundits in the Big Sky. Eastern Washington, I don't think Eastern Washington has a chair to sit in. I think Eastern Washington is, when we talk about the fracturing of college football, I think the team and the school that's up a creek more than anybody in the Big Sky, Northern Colorado has nothing to recapture. They were never good. They've never invested like a Division I program. They're just a D2 school playing in a D1 league. That's just going to be forevermore. But in terms of a team that had success, even reached the mountaintop, reached the pinnacle of success, and then has completely eroded. And in some ways it's because of the management and the strategy behind their program, but in other ways it's because of things they can't control, including their location, their fan base, the faculty, and the lack of investment that the faculty has at the university. All of that has contributed to Eastern being a team that really doesn't have any ground to stand on. Same thing with Portland State. So when you're talking about that run for Montana, when they go Northern Colorado and Missoula, at Flagstaff, Idaho and Missoula, at Eastern Washington, Portland State and Missoula, I think that's at the bare minimum 4 wins and probably 5 wins for the Grizz. Then you get in the pivotal part of their season, and right now I know we're up against it. So on the other side, we'll talk a little bit of baseball. We'll talk some paddleheads and some Major League Baseball, but we'll also finish this up and give you where we're at in terms of the scope of the Grizz football season. Idaho State coming to Missoula on November 14th, and the following weekend, Montana State hosting Montana, which could be for what, the 4th year in a row, the outright conference title. We'll go through that and actually give you an over-under win total for the Grizz. Don't change that dial. Live from Jewelry Design Center, you're listening to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz produced the first wave in the in-state football recruiting battle, landing verbal commitments from 7 of the Treasure State's top prospects. But the Bobcats have swung back with 4 verbal commitments, including landing one of the top talents in Montana over the weekend. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Cannon Rickman, a 6'4", 220-pound do-everything quarterback from Class B Three Forks, gave his pledge to Brent Vegan and the Bobcats over the weekend. Montana State hosted its first round of official visits for recruits last weekend in Bozeman. Rickman led the Wolves to a 10-2 record in 2025, with both losses coming to neighboring Manhattan, first in the regular season, then in the Class B state title game. The right-hander finished the year with a completion percentage around 70% for 2,675 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, as well as 1,622 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns on 9.3 yards per carry. Rickman chose Montana State over offers from Montana, Montana Tech, and Carroll College, along with interest from Nevada, UNLV, UTEP, and Washington State. His high school head coach, Connor Sullivan, was a standout tight end for the Bobcats, who played his senior season at MSU in 2016. The Montana football team secured its first commitment from an offensive lineman over the weekend. Gavin Allen, a 6'5", 300-pounder out of Idaho Falls, Idaho, chose Montana over offers from the University of Idaho, Cornell, and Fordham. Allen helped lead Hillcrest High to the state championship game each of his last 2 seasons, earning a state title 2 years ago and a runner-up finish last fall.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Colter Nuanez. Coming to you from Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center located at 2501 Brook Street. We are giving away Post Malone tickets, so come say what's up. If you've never been here before, you need to come. It is outstanding. I mean, it is, the showroom itself is enough to knock your socks off, but that's not all. in the back of the showroom, it's like Santa's workshop. They got all sorts of jewelers building jewelry. So that's their specialty. They are the largest diamond dealer in the Northwest. But anything that you can possibly imagine, anything you can possibly desire, they can make it for you. They can design it for you. So come let them show you what you can do and also get entered in to win Post Malone tickets. Courtesy of us here at the U1045 and ESPN Radio, as well as Jewelry Design Center, your jeweler for life. Okay, a continued conversation about Grizz football. Basically what I got it at, we're doing over-under win totals, right? So we're going Southern Utah win, Drake win, Utah Tech win, Oregon State coin flip, UC Davis coin flip, Northern Colorado win, at Northern Arizona coin flip, Idaho win, Eastern Washington win, Portland State win. Idaho State I think is going to be a good game. It's a national television game, but I'm still saying win for Montana. And then you got the Bobcat game as a coin flip. So that's 8 wins right there, and then you got 4 coin flip games, all 4 of them road games, and we've seen how this can go, right? Montana State a couple years ago had a crazy road schedule, and they lost all those games. Like they lost a close one at South Dakota State early, and then they just kept losing. They lost at Idaho, they lost at Montana. It can unravel on you when you have challenging home game or challenging road games, and Oregon State is a challenging road game. Obviously, as an FBS opponent. At UC Davis, Davis has been a Final 8 team 2 years in a row. It's a challenging road game. At NAU, it doesn't even matter if NAU is good or not. It's just a tough trip. Getting a flag is really, really hard. But I also think NAU has a chance to be pretty good this year. They're another one of these schools that's going to experience swing games to the maximum, right? If they can get going early, they can carry some momentum. Like if they have a lot to play for when Montana comes to town on October 10th, that's going to be a really interesting game with a lot of ramifications. But I and then you talk about at Montana State. I mean, you talk about the defending national champions. So, I don't want to make a pick for the Cat Grizz game right now, and I don't really know if I want to make for sure picks in any of these which ways. I just think it's not going out on a limb that crazy to say that. Let's say if the Grizz have 8 home games, given the opponents that they're playing at home, let's put that at 7.5 wins right there. I don't think they're going to lose any of those games, but what if one of them's a swing game? Okay, so we'll put it at 7.5 to be fair. This is how the bookies would do it, right? Then I think they'll split Oregon State, UC Davis. I don't know which way that will go. If they lose at Oregon State, the rebound could be going down to Davis and knocking off a team that's been really good the last several years. On the other side, they go upset Oregon State. Now maybe you have a chance for a letdown. I just think they'll split right there. Again, I know Flagstaff is a tough trip. It's a hard place to get to. Walk up Skydome is a weird place to play. And I think NAU is going to be pretty good. They got Ty Pennington, who's one of the good quarterbacks, one of the better quarterbacks, not just in the Big Sky, but in the country. I think that even given all those advantages for NAU, I think that Montana goes down to flag and wins that game. So let's say between those 3, you're giving her 1.5 wins right there. And then I think that the Bobcat game, you probably lean toward the Grizz going there and losing. But if they, let's say they go 2-1 in those road games and they run the table at the home games, now it's a 10-1 Bobcat team going to Bozeman. That team's going to have all the confidence in the world. And again, I know that the home team has run roughshod over the visiting team for the last 5 rivalry game matchups, but that was not the case for over 10 years. I mean, you had multiple times where each team came into each other's respective houses and won. And with the Big Sky title on the line, which that could very well be the case, especially if the Grizz set that scenario, right? If the Grizz are 9-2 or 10-1 coming into the game against Montana State and Bozeman, and the Cats do what they're supposed to do, and they're 10-1 or 9-2 as well, that game is going to be for at least a share, if not an outright Big Sky Conference championship. So I'm still putting that one as like a coin flip game. So I'm saying that the Grizz, their over-under win total for their home games is 7.5, and their over-under win total for their road games is, if we're going conservatively, let's say 1.5. So then I think their over-under win total for the season is either 8.5 or 9.5. I, for one, am bullish on the Grizz. And that's not just because this show gets broadcast in Montana. That's not just because I'm from Missoula and went to the University of Montana. I'm bullish on the Grizz. I think Montana has a chance to have some addition by subtraction. I know Bobby Hauck is the all-time winningest coach in the history of Grizz football. I know that he has stacked it up in terms of overall wins, Big Sky Conference wins, Big Sky Conference championships, all that. He is on the Mount Rushmore of coaches, certainly at Montana, but maybe even in the Big Sky Conference. But what loomed large was the lack of a national championship, and what loomed large was the lack of flexibility. I know there's a lot of questions about the Grizz football team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I think that the fact they have a coach who's going to be coaching for his job in Bobby Kennedy, who potentially has his back against the wall because he knows if he doesn't perform and perform well, that he's not going to have a job. And the fact that they have a stacked set of offensive personnel that returns in full force with the same offensive coordinator, and the fact that they have now that has been the biggest flaw of the Grizz for the last however many years. When Bobby Hauck first got back, the Grizz had great defensive personnel, and they played a defensive style, and they won that way. The last couple of years, they've had good defenses, but great offensive personnel, but they've still wanted to win in a defensive style. Now they have great offensive personnel, and the defense is the question mark. Well, what's a coach that's coaching for his job want to do, especially when that guy has coached nothing but offense since 1992? They're going to want to play to their offense. They're going to play to their strengths. That's what I think gives them an opportunity to actually have a lot of momentum. And I think I'm putting their over-under win total at 9.5. I'm not going to pick the over. We're going to set the lines for every single one of the Big Sky Conference teams. Then at the end, by the end of the summer, then we'll do the picks. Who is who will be the Big Sky champ? Who has the best over-under win total? We'll go through all of them. But I do think I'm putting the Grizz over-under. I thought coming into this exercise it would maybe be 8.5, 7.5. I'm going 9.5. I'm saying 9.5 with a little bit of a bullish on maybe even taking the over. But we'll do the over-unders when we get there. But for now, of course we did. We burned up all the clock on this here Grizz schedule breakdown. So we'll take another break. We'll come back and we'll talk some baseball and some paddleheads. If you're in and around the area, come on over to Jewelry Design Center. We have paddleheads tickets for you. We got MMA tickets for you. There's a big set of fights coming up at Big Sky Brewing on July 11th. We also have Post Malone tickets for you. That's the big draw. If you go inside a Jewelry Design Center, you can get entered in to win Post Malone tickets. All you got to do is put your name in the box. We'll do the drawing a little later on. Come see us. Get yourself entered in to win tickets to the biggest concert of the summer, Post Malone and Jelly Roll. Watch the Grizzly Stadium on July 11th. Well, it's now 109 ESPN Radio. Paddleheads and Major League Baseball on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling, and they can pick it up for you at your house twice a month. Don't waste your time and get your car all messy by hauling it all around town. Let Grizzly Disposal come pick it up for you. You want to add the service or you want to make the switch, grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal. The only Bears that should be in your garbage. We are coming to you live from Jewelry Design Center. I got Paddleheads tickets for you. I got ESPN swag for you. But more than anything, we got a chance to win Post Malone tickets. Post Malone and Jelly Roll coming to Missoula, Montana on July 21st. It is one of the big concerts of the summer. So if you want a chance to win free tickets, come down to Jewelry Design Center and put your name in the box, and you'll get entered in to win. You don't have to be here when we do the drawing. We're going to do the drawing after we're done with the broadcast. All you have to do is come down, say hi, put your name in the box, and you will be entered in to win. We talked all things Grizz football at the beginning of the show, which then became the middle of the show. That's how it always rolls. Sometimes when I'm rolling by myself, I try to go in depth on certain things in order to be able to get through the time. Believe it or not, even if you are a professional talker and a Montana radio broadcaster of the year, not to toot my own horn, but it is still challenging to roll by yourself for 25 to 30 straight minutes. It's hard to not repeat yourself and use too much filler, and it's always a work in progress. I'm always working on it, but sometimes then I dwell on a certain thing, and then all of a sudden we don't get into what we needed to get into. So that's all good. It's June 23rd, right? We're doing whatever we want. We're and I know you guys like the Paddleheads. I know you guys like Major League Baseball. I know you like all that stuff, but I know you still are here for the bread and butter, which is the Grizz, the Bobcats, and all things football. Still, though, we do have a ton of Paddleheads tickets for you, so please come see us down here at JDC. And I can dime you up for tomorrow night or the next night. I got 6 tickets, 3 pairs each to the next 2 nights of Missoula Paddleheads baseball. But here's the update on what's going on with the Paddleheads. Offense rules the day, certainly, when it comes to Pioneer Leagues so far this year. And that's been the deal since it went to the independent format. The good news is the Paddleheads can still hit the tar out of the ball. The bad news for the Paddleheads is most of the rest of the teams in the league can also still hit the tar out of the ball. And so Missoula's been a little bit up and down. Last Thursday, Paddleheads took one completely on the chin. Billings Mustangs beat them 26-11. Mustangs hit a Pioneer record number of home runs in the game. I'm looking at this box score. I'm just going to have to count out loud. Chris Munoz had one. Michael Soper had one. Demise Jimerson had one. Kyle Mikolas had one. John McHenry had 3. Bodie Wright had one. And A.J. Schaefer had one. So you add it all up, that's 9 home runs for the Billings Mustangs in a 26-11 win in Missoula. The Paddleheads then went on the road to play one of their other in-state rivals, the Glacier Range Riders, and it went a little bit better for them the first 2. They won 11-5 and then 7-3. But then on Sunday, took one on the chin again, 21-2. So that's been the story, right? Is Missoula scores runs, and Missoula has won games, but when their pitching's been bad, it's really been a struggle. They've given up runs in bunches. And here we are, about a third of the way through the regular season, and Missoula sits at 15-15. We are the proud affiliates of the Missoula Paddleheads, and they are back home. They've only played 12 home games so far this year, so this is certainly going to be a welcome return to home. They got the Red Pocket Mobiles in town starting this evening. Excuse me, I fast-forwarded through the schedule way too much. They got the rival Billings Mustangs in town. Tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then starting next Tuesday, a week from today, June 30th, the Red Pocket Mobiles are in town for a 3-game set. And then you got the Idaho Falls Checkers in town for a 3-game set. That'll be your 4th of July weekend slate of games. So I got tickets for you to the Mustangs each of the next 2 nights. Already gave away today's tickets. But if you want to go Wednesday night or Thursday night, come see me down at Jewelry Design Center, and we will get you all hooked up. Diamond time here on Nuanez Now. It's probably presented by DeMorris Automotive. DeMorris Automotive has been locally owned and operated for more than 70 years. They are Missoula's go-to when it comes to Buick GMC. They do a great job, and we are proud to have them as a part of Diamond Time here on Nuanez Now. Let's take a look at the Major League Baseball standings. We usually do our picks before the season begins. The Atlanta Braves, which is the team that's on the TV the most in my house. My wife's a big Braves fan. Her family was in town. All 3 of her sister cousins are big Braves fans as well. And they've been in and out of it, but now the Braves are back to being really good. And for a little while there, well, actually for a long while, for about a month-long stretch, the Braves had the best record in Major League Baseball. They still have a very good record. They have a 6.5-game lead in the National League East. Philadelphia, the Phillies got off to a terrible start, but then they fired their manager, and now they've done a lot better lately. But that's a good division race, but Atlanta does have a 6.5-game lead in that division race. But, of course, which has been predicted and is no surprise. Even though the Braves had the best record in baseball for about a month, the Los Angeles Dodgers are back to having the best record in baseball. They are the first team in Major League Baseball with 50 wins, and here they are, sitting at 50-29 with a full 9-game lead over the San Diego Padres, and they are 2 games ahead of the Braves for the best record in the National League and in Major League Baseball. Division by division, New York Yankees, as predicted by me, I know, bold move to pick the Yankees. What a way to go out on a limb. They're 46-31. They got a 2-game lead over Tampa Bay. That division maybe not quite as stacked as people hoped it would be. The Red Sox pulling up the rear. They are 14 games below 500. That's the big surprise of the AL East. Baltimore also being below 500 is a little bit of a surprise as well. In the AL Central, I think people thought that Cleveland, Minnesota, I think people thought everybody but the White Sox would be good. And the White Sox are in a tie with Cleveland for first place. So that's probably the surprise division is the Chi Sox being in the lead of that division. Minnesota's not been very good. Detroit's been downright awful, and the Kansas City Royals have a terrible bullpen, and that's been very, very detrimental to their competitive. They sit 13 games below 500. But the White Sox, the leaders of the AL Central. In the AL West, Seattle has been able to stay in front, but that's been a sort of stuck-in-the-mud division as well. The Astros were expected to be good. They are not good. They're in fourth place. They're 3.5 games behind Seattle. But everybody in that division's pretty much jumbled up. Even L.A., the Angels are 8.5 games out of first, but they're in last. That's because Seattle is only 1 game above 500. So that's a division where they've been beating up on each other for sure, and nobody's been able to really pull away. As mentioned, Atlanta has a 6.5 game lead in the National League Central, or National League East, over Philadelphia and Washington in third place there. But 4 out of 5 teams in the NL East are over 500. In the Central, Milwaukee's been a great story. The Miz, Jonathan Mizorowski, has been one of the stories of baseball. You haven't seen this guy. Utterly electric. Not hyperbole. He's the hardest throwing starting pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. He has the 12th hardest balls ever thrown by a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's the only guy in Major League history to throw over 103 miles per hour as a starter. He's gone over 104. So that in itself is a pure spectacle. And Milwaukee's used a lot of that juice, plus a really well-made roster, to be out all the way in front in the Central. They're 5 games up on the Cardinals. But the Cardinals and the Cubs, both competitive as well. That is one of the best division races. That and the Central and the AL and the West in the AL are all tight. Central and West in the AL are not necessarily that good of divisions in terms of the overall team records, whereas the NL Central has 3 teams all jammed up, 4 teams above 500, but everybody's pretty dang good. I mean, the Braves have, the Brewers have one of the 5 best records in Major League Baseball. And then you get to the West, where the Dodgers are the first team in the majors with 50-plus wins. San Diego is 9 games out, but they are above 500. And then Arizona, San Francisco, and Colorado. So that's your Major League Baseball standings update here on Diamond Time. It's probably presented by D-Bat of Missoula. D-Bat, the premier batting cages in the Garden City. Baseball, softball, no matter if you're a slow pitch player playing in an adult league or a fast pitch hardball player, D-Bat's got a batting cage they can adjust for you. They also have a great pro shop offering all the best in gear and bats, gloves, helmets, batting gloves, all that sort of stuff. Every Monday we give you a chance to win swing cards from D-Bat. And if you come see me at Jewelry Design Center, we'll get you a D-Bat card as well. All you got to do is come down and tell me you were listening to Diamond Time. Also, thanks to our friends at DeMorris Automotive, locally owned and operated for more than 60 years. The premier vendor when it comes to Buick and GMC here in Missoula. Diamond Time, do it a couple times a week here on Nuanez now that we're in the height of summer. Hour 1 of the books, hour 2 come at you. You want to get in the mix for Post Malone tickets, please do. Come see us at Jewelry Design Center. Put your name in the box, you'll get entered in. Hour 1 of the books, hour 2 coming your way. Dave Dickinson, one of the great quarterbacks in the history of Grizz football. And Kaylee Ayat, potentially one of the next great quarterbacks in the history of great football. They'll both join us. Plus, we'll keep on giving you opportunities to win. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Grizzlies can fix just about anything. That's why the University of Montana is the cybersecurity center for the Treasure State, training the next generation to defend what matters most. We deliver graduates with skills to fill more than 1,100 open cybersecurity jobs in Montana. As the region's cybersecurity hub, we'll be prepared for tomorrow's threats, because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz produced the first wave in the in-state football recruiting battle, landing verbal commitments from 7 of the Treasure State's top prospects. But the Bobcats have swung back with 4 verbal commitments, including landing one of the top talents in Montana over the weekend. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Cannon Rickman, a 6'4", 220-pound do-everything quarterback from Class B Three Forks, gave his pledge to Brent Vegan and the Bobcats over the weekend. Montana State hosted its first round of official visits for recruits last weekend in Bozeman. Rickman led the Wolves to a 10-2 record in 2025, with both losses coming to neighboring Manhattan, first in the regular season, then in the Class B state title game. The right-hander finished the year with a completion percentage around 70% for 2,675 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, as well as 1,622 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns on 9.3 yards per carry. Rickman chose Montana State over offers from Montana, Montana Tech, and Carroll College, along with interest from Nevada, UNLV, UTEP, and Washington State. His high school head coach, Connor Sullivan, was a standout tight end for the Bobcats, who played his senior season at MSU in 2016. The Montana football team secured its first commitment from an offensive lineman over the weekend. Gavin Allen, a 6'5", 300-pounder out of Idaho Falls, Idaho, chose Montana over offers from the University of Idaho, Cornell, and Fordham. Allen helped lead Hillcrest High to the state championship game each of his last 2 seasons, earning a state title 2 years ago and a runner-up finish last fall.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
You have a normal 9-to-5 job.
Right.
You would never come here. Cause it's
totally.
I mean, you're not going to use your Saturdays to come in all the time.
Totally. For sure.
Like, that's where I'm curious on how that'll go. But
Yep. All right, I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to get back in, but I'm playing an interview. Well, tonight, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio, but from Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center located at 2501 Brook Street, right across from the Montana Club. You want Post Malone tickets? We got them for you. All you got to do is come down, say hi to me, go in the store, put your name in the box, bam. We got you hooked up. That'll be your chance to win. Hottest show of the summer, July 21st at Washington Grizzly Stadium. If you missed anything in the first hour of the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Did a in-depth breakdown of the Grizz football schedule, over-under win total, which I got at 9.5 next year for the Grizz. We also give you an update on Major League Baseball standings and an update on Missoula Paddleheads, and give you a chance to win Missoula Paddleheads tickets as well. All of it on the pod. Please rate, review, subscribe. Even though we're here at Jewelry Design Center, we are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. They can get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock. Want to get one? GrizzlyDisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. It's a fun deal. You know, there's the cliche joke that everybody has a podcast, right? Well, I don't know if everybody has a podcast, but there's more and more and more podcasts sprouting up. Years and years before I ever had the opportunity and the great fortune to work at ESPN MT, we started a podcast, and I think it was one of the first sports podcasts in Montana. That's way back in 2013, some 13 or 14 years ago. And I remember we were doing it with a little hand recorder that we bought at Radio Shack for $40. We were uploading it, and, if we're getting 25 or 30 listens, we thought that was pretty cool. But the notion that, technology has evolved so much that a lot of people can have podcasts, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody needs one or that all the podcasts are good. But when there is a podcast that is good, and it's about a pertinent subject that we are interested in, I like to try to form partnerships with those people. Because high tides raise all ships, right? So the Grizzly Football Players Association is a new organization that's trying to help Grizz football players of old and new connect and network and share business, share life stories, share memories, have events together, have golf tournaments together, raise a little money for the University of Montana. All of it's in name of a good cause, which I think is awesome. GFPA has started a new podcast. The president, Ty Hobbs, who was just down hanging out a little bit earlier today, he and DJ Coulter, each of them are former Grizz defensive tackles. DJ played in the late 1990s, and Ty played in the late 2000s. They have a new podcast, which is a fun deal. They've just had 3 episodes so far. One of it was just those two talking about the motivation of the podcast. One of them, the episodes, was with Eli Gilman, the All-American running back for the Grizz football team. And the latest is an episode with Dave Dickinson, who is widely considered the greatest player in Big Sky Conference history. I decided to cut some of this up because I think it's very insightful. Here is an excerpt from the latest Cussin' and Discussin' podcast with Dave Dickinson, the legend of the fall, here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
True freshman when Dave was a senior. And the first time I ever met Dickie was back then, and I don't know if Dickie remembers the story, with Coach Reed used to do an introductory. Remember, we'd sit in that big room, and he'd go around and have everyone stand up and start the season out. And the first practice of who you were, where you were from, what year you were. And I remember all the young guys in the front, we all went, and then the seniors were up in the back. And there's Dave stands up, and he said, Dave Dickinson, senior bartender, Stockman's. You remember that, Diggy, when you said that? And the place just erupted. And right then I'm like, he must be a cool guy. I mean, he's got a little personality. He's got some character. Do you remember that, Dickie, when you did that? We used to have to do those?
Yeah, I'll always, I do, because I also had the reputation and still do as the worst bartender ever at Stocks.
What? No way.
Yeah, no, Matt Wells likes to bring that up all the time. And problem was I ended up talking too much, and I really never drank. I drank, I guess, my drinks, but I didn't know much about drinks. And they'd say, give me a White Russian. I'd say, what is that? Tell me how to make it. And half the time they wouldn't know either. So No, I do remember, but I also still do that as a coach. I like to have the guys stand up, and then I actually like to tell them, like, hey, give me something interesting about you, not football related. Like maybe you like to cut hair, what music you like, or maybe brothers and sisters, or because like you say, DJ, it's more about getting to know each other and like kind of starting to become a family, and that's what really football's about.
Dickie, tell me, just if I were to ask you the same thing, tell me something unique about you and just kind of where you're at. I mean, for the listeners out there too, just kind of what you're doing, your family, whatever you feel comfortable with your family situation, and just maybe something unique now. As we're getting in our 50s, brother. We got life looks a little different now than it used to 30 years ago.
Yeah. I think I live a simple life. I mean, I live in the country here in Calgary. I live out on an acreage. I enjoy just sitting there and chipping the balls in my grass in my yard, just kind of put headphones in and try to relax. Unique about me, I mean, to be straight up, people may not know this, I never liked school. I was good at it, and I took it as a competition, but there's nothing that really interests me like sports. Nothing. So like it didn't matter what I did. I really never. I went to school thinking maybe I'll get a job, but to me it was all about sports, and school is just another competition. So people always think, oh, you want to be a doctor? Nope, I want to play sports, and I want to coach sports, and that was basically it. If I wasn't able to do this, I don't think I could be happy.
I remember hearing all the time that Dickie was going to be, if he didn't make it in the NFL, CFL, he was going to be going to be a doctor because he was a 4.0, really smart. I remember hearing that when I was, back 30 years ago. Wow.
My wife actually, she laughs about it because she's like, first off, I don't even really like trauma, blood, any of that stuff. It kind of, it just kind of turns me off. So I think it was a plan. It was maybe something that I thought I could be good at, but certainly sports is number one for me.
Did you love football at a young age, or when did that really start to take off for you?
Yeah, I loved it, but I wasn't very good up until maybe 10th grade. So I got beat around. Kind of a story I like to tell. My dad was the coach of the opposite high school. And I got hit in I think it was grade 7 or maybe grade 8, 8th grade in the U.S. I'm talking Canadian here. But anyway, just totally sliced up my right elbow. I got 47 stitches. My dad doesn't even come off the field. He's on the other side. My mom comes out. We go to the hospital. We lose that game. But anyway, every time I've ever went to any physical for any professional sports team, they look at this big scar on my right elbow, and they think that I got surgery. And obviously, as a quarterback that throws right-handed, it's a big problem. But no, it was one of those where maybe it was a premonition of what was going to happen in the future. I got hurt too much, and certainly loved it. But basketball's probably number one. Never grew, still love it. And like I said, I think I can play any sport, and if I can't, I'm gonna work to be decent. I'm never gonna be bad at anything. Maybe swimming. I don't think I could swim much. But
you a scratch golfer now, Dickie? You a scratch golfer?
No, but I played when I was at the San Diego Chargers with Drew Brees and Flutie and those guys. I mean, I was pretty good. I got into maybe a 5.
Nice.
And we were playing some amazing courses, and always for free. That's another thing people don't know about me. I love golf, but I love free golf even more.
Cheap. Nothing wrong with being cheap, Dickie. Nothing wrong with being cheap. Nothing wrong with that.
No, definitely. Well, my brother and sister, we didn't ever get on a plane until we went to college. We didn't necessarily not have anything, but we didn't have much, and it was okay. We didn't care. We had sports and good programs, high school programs, and that sort of stuff. But no, I like golf a lot too. And I had a new hip about 5 years ago. I don't know if any of you, these old guys, and it's been a blessing just because I was really struggling walking, even sleeping. And that's kind of now reinvigorated my golf game. I get in a low age.
Yeah.
I don't get to 70s much, but I'm still hitting the ball better and out of pain, so that's nice.
You're listening to an excerpt of the Cussin' and Discussin' podcast, an extension of the Grizzly Players Association, as well as ESPN MT and Skyline Sports, co-hosted by former Grizz defensive tackles Ty Hobbs and DJ Coulter. This interview with Dave Dickinson, the legend of the fall, the 1995 Walter Payton Award winner, and named the all-time greatest athlete in the history of the Big Sky Conference when the Big Sky celebrated its 50th anniversary back in 2013. If you are around the area, come on down to the Jewelry Design Center. We're giving away free Post Malone tickets. All you have to do is come put your name in a box, and you'll be entered in to win. Jewelry Design Center, 2501 Brook Street, across from the Montana Club. Jewelry Design Center, proud to support Grizz Athletics, ESPN Radio, and your jeweler for life. More from this interview with the great one, Dave Dickinson, right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
People have no idea the sacrifice you made to your body, both high school, college, your pro career, Dickie. I mean, was it worth it to you? Was it worth it for that fake hit?
I'd play today. if they let me. They don't, but yeah, why not? I mean, you can get hit by a car. You can die any other way. No, I loved it. And you know what? I agree that it was tough certainly as I do feel quite old at this point with joints and back sore and this and that. I've had a bunch of surgeries, but yeah, why not? You got to live, man. And I think football is safe enough, in my opinion. I'd let my kids play, and I think the character it builds and the other things it allows you to become the man you are. Certainly football is a big part of that.
Dickie, I had two roommates from Great Falls. You're the opposite. Great Falls High guy, Dallas Neal and Mike Warhank. I'm sure you just hate those guys being the Bison, the mighty Bison on the other side of the CMR. But give me a Great Falls story, or where do you miss it? I lived there one summer, worked for Dr. Neal, and tell me what favorite place to go out to eat. What do you miss about the GF?
Let's see here. Well, one story wasn't Warhank. He's a little younger than me, but his dad, my dad, obviously good friends. Great Falls High was kind of a basketball school. Sorry, Dallas, I'm gonna have to say the truth.
Yeah.
Johan and Spraggins and those, but no, it was. It had these Scotty Hatler and Trent Heikus and Mike Warhank. These were all great players, and we always got beat by them, and we turned it into like a football game. Like, I remember getting my share of fouls with John Knutson. But then when you go to college, you just all become buddies. Like, honestly, Yo is still one of the guys I talk to on a consistent basis, and just a great person. As far as eating, I don't think Great Falls is very fancy. My parents, it was Bory's.
Nice.
It's kind of, it's in Black Eagle. Is it great? I don't know, but I liked it. I like all those weird things about Great Falls. I mean, even like Taco Treat, Howard's Pizza.
Yes.
Honestly,
I was hoping you were going to bring up Taco Treat. That's what I missed from that summer, Dickie. That's the best, Taco Treat.
But only us locals like it. Like, well, maybe you do, I guess. But like, I don't know. I bring my wife or my kids and all that, and they're like, "Really? This is what you believe is good food?" I say, "Yeah, it's good. It's cheap. Quick. It's quick. Let's go."
Dickie, when I got here in 2006, all I heard from my Montana buddies, and I lived with one Great Falls guy, Kevin Corwin, and then I actually spent some time up in Kalispell out after college with his brother Tyler Corwin, both Great Falls guys. But I heard about how amazing Howard's Pizza was, and so we went to Howard, we got some Howard's Pizza, and I agreed. I thought it was great pizza, but consistently across the board, every one of my Montana buddies was like, "It's just not the same here as it is in Great Falls." Is that true?
Well, you'd have to use like a towel, it'll kind of get the grease off the top, but you got to go thin too. You got to go the thin. I don't know. Like, I guess that's what you grow up with. I mean, listen, all we really had was sports. Our hangout joint was the McDonald's parking lot. I mean, it was pretty mellow. And I have to be straight up as far as it was serious business. So sports, Coach Johnson would not allow you to, if you strayed at all in the off season, like let's say he heard you're out having a drink or something like that, a keg party or something. He found out, he knew everybody, and he scared me, man. I just was a good straight arrow up until that graduation. And but anyway, I enjoyed it. When I go back, I don't see very many people. I don't think very many of our class or our generation stayed. You either had to have a family business or kind of had to have a job in place. If you didn't, usually you move on.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, live from Jewelry Design Center in Missoula. You want a chance to win Post Malone and Jelly Roll tickets? We got them for you. All you have to do is come down, put your name in the box, check out JDC, hang out with us for a little while. You'll be entered in to win. The biggest concert of the summer coming up July 21st in Missoula. Your chance to win here on ESPN Radio and the U, live from Jewelry Design Center, 2501 Brook Street, right across from the Montana Club. Jewelry Design Center, your jeweler for life. More from this interview with Grizz Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer, the Legend of the Fall, Dave Dickinson, from the Cussin' and Discussin' podcast, co-hosted by DJ Coulter and Ty Hobbs, right now on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Dickie, tell us about what it was like when your freshman year, when you rolled into Missoula. You know, you have whether it's the rookie show, meeting Hack, you know, people like that. When you know, passing of Hack. Do you have any great stories from your freshman year with whether it's the rookie show, Hack, winter conditioning? Give us any stories that you can remember.
The weird thing is I still own the copper stool for our lockers with number 15 on it. Mike Larson's wife, Lori, bought it at an auction and gave it to me. I still have it. And that reminds me of Hack a lot because honestly, we had they were terrible locker rooms. I mean, by the time we got into the nice ones, we were graduating. I feel like, shoot, we built that thing. But Hack, a great man, Stack, those are just great people. A bit intimidating as well. They ran the show, but they treated you fairly. I mean, the big thing for me, here's the one I remember. So you said we introed everybody. Do you guys, maybe you didn't have in your day, but we used to go in the gym and they put 225 on the bench and everyone on the team had to do it. And they started with the big dogs, you know, and we had one kid named Action Jackson. I think I can't remember his first name, but he did 47. Well, as soon as the drug test came out that year, I never seen him again. Anyway, it kept kind of going down, and there's some big men. I mean, some guys do a lot, and then I got in there and I got buried. I got to admit, I actually don't even think I worked that hard in the weight room. I was more about playing sports than lifting, and I got buried, but it was embarrassing. And, you know, that was the one thing I think it was good to get that peer pressure to get out there and then, shoot, we're going to have to do that again next year. I better at least get my butt going. So, you know, I didn't get off to my best start. I wanted to redshirt big time. You know, kids these days just want to play. I wanted a redshirt. I wanted a 5-year experience. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to experience college. I didn't necessarily need the pressure. I roomed with Matt Wells, and he was chomping at the bit to get out there and play. And I was like, you know what? I think this is best for me, just to grow up, to experience college, but also understand what it's like to be a man. And anyway, it worked out good for me.
Did you guys did the rookie show and all that jazz? Do you remember your skit?
Shoot, not really, but I remember, oh man, like Jeff McElroy took it pretty hard. I remember that.
Did you guys have to sing the fight song at the end and everyone messed up on the same part?
It's funny you say that because I don't really remember that, and I've never been into that either, like that type of stuff. I know it's team building and all that, but I was probably pretty nervous. I was always treated really well by the guys, so I don't know if it was the way I carried myself or if they didn't think I would take kindly, or maybe they just said, we won't get a rise out of him. But there were some things in the rookie show that looking back we went too far, you know, but then again, no, it was true. I mean, but you know, guys were getting shaved. I think Nate Dolan is the one he took it hard because Nate was just so cocky and still, to me, one of the great dudes, though. And I mean, he's done so much good around Missoula, you know, and he's just turned his life in a direction that I know he's proud of, and I'm proud of him. But he got it, you know, he had the long mullet from Billings Senior, and he came in cocky. And I think my brother actually had to do the skit with him because my brother walked on that year. So he was older, but he was a rookie. And lucky for Craig, they just focused on Nate. They just did all their deal on Nate. But no, it was fun. When I look back and I think it's still important to do it, but obviously I think it's better now. It's better now because we have grown up. We understand that some of these things can go a little too far, and I still think you can do it the right way without maybe pushing that envelope too far. Totally.
And I guess it's important to say that just for, you know, us internally understand what the rookie show is, but for those who don't, it was at the end of fall camp, and all the rookies would get together and be tasked with putting some sort of skit together, and oftentimes it was banter, making fun of something funny that happened, you know, at practice or in the film room, and everyone was free game, man. The coaches, at least in my time, the coaches, the players, everyone was free game, and I know we always got always a handful of laughs and always a couple things that make you cringe.
I still do it in pros. We still have a rookie show.
Oh, wow.
We still do. Because like you guys said, it was something to get the team together. And, you know, honestly, it's something it's a team builder without necessarily hopefully going too far, and you have a few drinks, and it's more about the stories. Like you said, I don't remember mine because I probably was just couldn't get it over quick enough. I'm sure I went with like Jamer Bartell, and I'm sure the Great Falls guys. I think we had about 7 Great Falls guys total go to college together. That was some guy. We were good friends with Mike Kowalski and those type of guys. So
yeah,
those were still my best buddies.
Dave Dickinson, one of the greatest football players of all time from the state of Montana, a Great Falls CMR product who went on to win the Walter Payton Award at the University of Montana, led the Grizz to 3 straight playoff appearances, culminating in the 1995 Division I AA National Championship, the first in Grizz history. This interview, an excerpt from the Cussin' and Discussin' podcast, a product of the Grizzly Football Players Association. Grizzly Football Players Association, proudly sponsored by Jewelry Design Center, which is where we sit right now for Nuanez Now. If you're in and around the area on Brook Street, come on over, sign up for Post Malone and Jelly Roll tickets, and hang out with us. We'll be down here until 6 p.m. So if you want tickets to the biggest concert of the summer, come join us here at Jewelry Design Center, 2501 Brooks, across from the Montana Club, your jeweler for life. More with Dave Dickinson right now on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Dave, tell us a story, or do you remember any of those days on the Wednesday night socials, or back to the days, the winter conditioning, any horror stories, throw-up stories? You remember seeing anyone back in the old days? They didn't come back in shape into the winter, and what that was like. Any stories about that?
The big winter conditioning one for me was, so Bert Wilberger and I are competing for that starting job after Brad Lebo, and I was a year younger. I got mono. I mean, I went from I wasn't big anyway, 175, maybe like 152. And I remember doing those winter conditioning and damn near falling down the stairs and just out of gas. But like you said, you're never going to stop. And I just remember I was just trying to survive and took a big step back, in my opinion, in the spring ball. And then, so that's why I went into that year. Basically, I thought it was anyone's job. I just happened to have the first shot at it because Don Reed said, hey, you'll get the home game, South Dakota State, and then Bert, you'll play the road game, Oregon. Bert got the short stick there. I mean, talk about a good dude, by the way, Bert Wilberger. I mean, honestly, he was a great player in his own right, and he just didn't get an opportunity. In today's world, he'd be gone. He would transfer out, or maybe not. Maybe that was something that he loved being there. But I thought a great teammate and a guy that supported me. Just did some great things. As far as the socials, again, first off, I came into college I got to say, maybe I drank like 3 times before college, and that freshman year was a rude awakening.
Any
that
taste,
really
any old lineman taste, like back in the day when Eric, every day I was a rookie going up against you in practice, and you got your 2 offensive linemen, just Simo and Baker and Scott Curry. They're just beating the crap out of me every day, Dickie. I was trying to touch you in the backfield. So yeah, I was trying to get you, and that's all I remember is those guys at socials, and we'd come out and they're getting us a taste, but just good dudes and great teammates.
Yeah.
But man, they made me better. I remember Simo, he kicked my ass every day in practice, every day.
Yeah, no, and he was my roommate, my best friend, and took care of me. But I had a pretty good group now, and I'll tell you the other thing: we had a hell of a junior class my senior year. Like the 3 interior guys, Kemper, Zellick, and AG. That's a great core of guys. And then, obviously, I would put Scotty Gregg in there. He was 1 year older than me, but I mean, him and Simon got NFL looks. Scotty was down there for 13 years. And then I think it was Jason Baker. I think that's who came in the last year for us. But no, as far as the taste, I mean, it was fun. Man, I've never had much of a beach body, but I always think I could flex off. And, the funny thing was like Garrett Vetters, I'm trying to remember the names, just because he'd like flex his calf. And then everyone would get a big laugh out of that, even though he was jacked. No, there was good stuff. And then luckily I met my wife before she saw me do any of that stuff. She might have been soured by the whole experience. But anyway,
that's
good times
fantastic.
for sure.
Dickie, tell me a little bit about, you look at your back in Missoula. If you had to, your top places you love to hang out, go out to eat, what do you miss about Missoula now that you've been away for years?
Well, I do think it's the greatest city in the world. So, I mean, I can say that from Great Falls, and I live in Calgary. I think they're great cities too, but Missoula is just the best. It's the best people and just the best environment. Just a great little place to be by the river with the mountains. Not too big. Maybe it's getting bigger. I'm not sure, but I certainly thought it was the best. And I mean, I loved playing Largemount and the country club. I thought those were fun time. I loved getting on the river in a tube. Just, I wasn't much for fishermen, but I just liked being in the water. You know, as far as the people of Missoula, just supportive. And I want to bring this up. I mean, like when I was there was like the front row of our picture was the black guys. There was like 8 or 10 was the only guys we had on our team. And as a Great Falls guy, one of them was Scott Spraggins. And it was one of those things as sports really has taught me about culture and about people and about how to treat people the right way and also to see things from a different side. And I really felt our team blended so well. And it was partially because of the community. The community bought in and gave everybody, if you're a Grizz, you're a Grizz. And there wasn't any ifs, ands, and buts about it. But I just felt like we brought in some guys from Cali, and sometimes they were a little hard, if you remember, at the first 2-3 weeks. But after a bit, Missoula, the support, the team, the coaching staff, the players, man, was that just a tight-knit family. And you know, Corey Falls basically feeling like Marshall disrespecting us at our national championship game. And, you know, kind of like a great white hope. Corey's black. And I just remember that because it meant a lot for those guys to stand up, represent Montana, the Grizz. And obviously being a Montana is easy. Corey's not, but those are the guys that lifelong friendships and relationships and that just blending of culture that I think is so important.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Up.
Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz produced the first wave in the in-state football recruiting battle, landing verbal commitments from 7 of the Treasure State's top prospects. But the Bobcats have swung back with 4 verbal commitments, including landing one of the top talents in Montana over the weekend. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. Cannon Rickman, a 6'4", 220-pound do-everything quarterback from Class B Three Forks, gave his pledge to Brent Vegan and the Bobcats over the weekend. Montana State hosted its first round of official visits for recruits last weekend in Bozeman. Rickman led the Wolves to a 10-2 record in 2025, with both losses coming to neighboring Manhattan, first in the regular season, then in the Class B state title game. The right-hander finished the year with a completion percentage around 70% for 2,675 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, as well as 1,622 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns on 9.3 yards per carry. Rickman chose Montana State over offers from Montana, Montana Tech, and Carroll College, along with interest from Nevada, UNLV, UTEP, and Washington State. His high school head coach, Connor Sullivan, was a standout tight end for the Bobcats, who played his senior season at MSU in 2016. The Montana football team secured its first commitment from an offensive lineman over the weekend. Gavin Allen, a 6'5", 300-pounder out of Idaho Falls, Idaho, chose Montana over offers from the University of Idaho, Cornell, and Fordham. Allen helped lead Hillcrest High to the state championship game each of his last 2 seasons, earning a state title 2 years ago and a runner-up finish last fall.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
We've heard from him at press conferences, and you heard from him when he was a freshman, but it's been a little while since Kaylee Ayat's been on this show. But here he is, back for another hit on Nuanez Now, as well as the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. Off-season for the Grizz, plus a cool camp that a handful of Grizz are putting on in less than a month. So we're going to help promote that a little bit as well. ESPN MT is the official media sponsor of this camp. So excited about that. But Kaylee, thanks for joining us, man. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, man. First of all, how's it going just this summer? What have you been up to? And now this is a couple of Montana summers in. So do you like spending the summer in Montana?
Yeah, summer in Montana is good. It's really chill. Just training, really, getting ready for this upcoming season. So it's been working and spending good time with my teammates. So it's been good.
Well, tell me about just sort of the dynamic of the team right now, because it's interesting timing with Bobby Houck retiring and then unretiring, going to Illinois. We don't have to get into all that, but it's sort of a changing of the guard. And I've been very impressed with Bobby Kennedy and his staff. What have you thought? What have your impressions been so far?
I mean, I love Coach Kennedy. I think he's done a great job keeping our team together and setting his foundation for what he wants. So I think that's been established now throughout the spring and going into the summer. And it's really just keep on building, keep on pushing forward as a team, and just keep stacking days, getting ready for that first kickoff August 29th. So it's been good.
Well, obviously the way of the world now is, guys have a decision to make every offseason, no matter who they are, but especially great players like yourself. But nobody left from the Grizz. So what's the thing that kept you guys together? What's the thing that kept the roster so just in tune?
I just think that's the culture of the program. From when I first got here till now, it's never really changed. And I think it's always been like that. I mean, guys come in, transfer from other places, and they all say the same thing. It's not really like this around other places. So it's a cool thing to be a part of with, such a tight team. And I think that helps you in the long run.
Where do you think the bond comes from? Because you can see it. You can feel it with you guys when you guys are hanging out on the field, off the field. Why do you think the team is so tight-knit?
I think the Montana boys do a good job of it, keeping that culture strong. And I just feel like, I just feel like everyone gets along with each other in the locker room. And then that just leads to outside, hanging out with each other. And just really, the coaches do a good job, too, of making sure everything's in line for all of us. And there's no bullshit going on. So I think that's it.
Well, it was funny when you made your quote-unquote announcement that you were going to stay, because I think you had a lot of people hanging on pins and needles. I kind of had a feeling that you were going to be back around Missoula, but I was loving just the reactions from people that only read maybe half of the tweet or half of the Instagram post, but then it goes on to say, okay, I'm here, I'm staying in Missoula. So take us through it, and just you having a little bit of fun maybe with Grizz Nation, and also just your decision to stay.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people nowadays posting about transferring and these long paragraphs of, thanking the coaches. And I had my mind set. I knew I was going to come back here, so I just wanted to have a little fun with it, play with the fans' emotions a little bit, and just joke around. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be here, and that's God's plan for me. So I can't wait for this upcoming season, and definitely glad to be back here.
Kelly joined us here on Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. He is about to be junior quarterback at the University of Montana. When it comes to just the offensive staff, the fact that Bobby Kennedy worked on the offensive side last year, but you also retained Brent Pease, who you've now worked with your whole career, how much does that help you just as a quarterback, sort of having those guys be familiar to you and having worked with Coach Pease all these years? I'm sure you guys are speaking the same language now that you've been through it so long.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a plus having the coach that, brought you here and is still here right now. So having that continuity with Coach Pease is definitely huge. Each year building on, the offense itself and just knowing what he's thinking, knowing what he wants to do as a offense as a whole. So having that is huge, and I'm so thankful for Coach Pease for helping me as a player and continuing to develop me. So I think we're going to keep building, keep expanding the offense, and that's a great thing because I'm already familiar with it. So I think it's good that you can keep on building throughout the years.
Well, you guys had one of the great offenses in Grizz history last year, scored about as many points as any Grizz team ever. And, the amount of yards and productive plays and all that sort of stuff, it was off the charts. So where can you build? Like, where are the places do you think that Montana can improve offensively?
I always just think you can improve everywhere. I don't think anything was perfect last year. I still think there's a lot of stuff that we left out on the field that we could have done better. I could have done better. And I think that my teammates would agree, my coaches would agree. So every year is just trying to get better at everything, finding ways to fine-tune things and make sure you can execute them in the big-time moments and come game time. So I'm just really trying to execute those things.
Well, it seems like you have really become maybe even obsessed with sort of improving and getting better. So where's that love and also that desire come from for you? What drives you?
I definitely say it's in my DNA, coming from the family I come from my dad's side and from my mom's side, I guess. So, but just always, my dad has always put that in me, I think, as a little kid. Always treating everything the same. Don't have no big head just because you did something good. Like, it don't matter. Every year is different. So I think just having that and just the love for the game, like just trying to chase the best version of myself is the biggest thing I would always try to do. And, I think it's just been instilled in me since I was a little kid and growing up around my big cousins, my brother, just being the little one in the group, always trying to prove something. So I think that's where it comes from.
Well, you definitely got a lot of family support. Anytime we talk about you on this show, anytime we talk about you on the podcast, anytime we post pictures, there's a bunch of IOTs that comment on it. So, that must help you have confidence in yourself, though, just the fact that you do have this whole tribe behind you that just loves you so much.
Oh, yeah. It takes a village. I'm very thankful for my family and how much they've done for me. I wouldn't be here without them. So their support means the world to me, and I think that's what – it's like that in Hawaii. Family is big, so I'm so thankful for them.
Kelly Ayat joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. We are coming to you live as you listen to this from the Jewelry Design Center. We're giving away Post Malone tickets all afternoon, so all you got to do is come down to JDC, put your name in the box, boom, we got some tickets for you to Post Malone and Jelly Roll. It's not a guarantee. You're going to have to be one of the lucky winners, but all you have to do is stop in. You don't have to stay till the drawing at the end of the night, but please come down, hang out with us. Jewelry Design Center, 2501 Brook Street, right across from the Montana Club, your jeweler for life. So let's talk about the here and now then. Last couple of weeks you've been working with the kids, working at the kids' camps. So do you feel like teaching helps you progress your game? Like they say once you learn how to teach, then that can also help you improve because you're sort of teaching yourself in those moments too. So what have you thought of just working with the kids, and has that helped you grow as a player?
Definitely. I think when you step into that coaching role that you're not used to, it kind of makes you rethink like how to do things or what really is being coached to you. So it's definitely a good refresher, like trying to think about those things, and then also just pouring back into the kids what I've always wanted as a kid, which is just like players and people giving it to me and teaching me. So definitely helps you refresh your mind, and definitely a plus.
And I mean, the kids love you guys, man. I mean, and there's some guys on this team that are as big of fan favorites among the young guys as anybody. So just getting that reaction, what's that experience like? Just knowing all these kids just look up to you so much.
I mean, it's awesome because I was one of those kids when I was a little kid, looking up to the guys in the college teams or just NFL players and stuff like that. So knowing how much this community is strong in the football part of Montana football, I mean, it's big to give back to them because one day they're going to look back and remember those types of things. Because I mean, I remember those types of things when I was a kid. So just giving back to the youth is big.
Yeah, I always tease Dave Dickinson. I tell him that when I was like 9 years old, when the Grizz had just won the national championship, if you would have lined up John Elway and Dan Marino and Michael Vick and whoever else, I would have gone to Dave Dickinson and said, and asked for an autograph. Because like when you're just growing up in Missoula, that's the biggest deal ever, man. So that's cool that you guys understand that. So now you and a whole bunch of other guys, Brooks Davis, Tanner Huff, Ian Finch, Peyton Wing, all putting on a fun camp. It's coming up July 17th at Washington Grizzly Stadium. So tell me sort of the motivation behind this and what gave you guys this idea.
Man, I mean, just giving back to the kids, like I said, giving back to the youth. Shout out to Tom from Aspen Sound. He let me know about it, and I was down for it. And I just can't wait to go out there and have fun with the kids, teach them some football, and along with my teammates, it's going to be a fun day.
What do you hope kids get out of this, other than obviously just meeting you guys, getting to hang out with you guys? What sort of things can they expect to sort of experience and learn at the camps?
I think just like lessons of football that it gives you. I mean, football, just by the sport itself, gives you so much life lessons. I mean, I could list it, but like just stuff like life stuff, and I think, memories that they're gonna remember.
Well, this just dawned on me. I can't believe I never thought of this before, but you wear number 8. Marcus Mariota wore number 8. There's been several Hawaiian quarterbacks that have wore number 8. Where does that come from? Is that like an intentional tradition, or do you wear 8 because of Mariota, or where did you get number 8?
Yeah, I mean, my first ever football number was number 8, just because of Marcus Mariota. I mean, he was my role model growing up, watching him when he was at Oregon, winning the Heisman, all that. So I wear 8 because of Marcus, and I think it just suits the 8 for 808. And carrying Hawaii strongly on our backs and representing our state means a lot to us.
I was looking this up the other day. Cole Brennan, who is the great quarterback from Hawaii, who played at the University of Hawaii, he wore number 8 too. So cool connection there. And there's been a lot of great quarterbacks that have come out of Hawaii, played in Hawaii, played at Hawaii, all that sort of stuff. So we were talking about idols, so it made me wanted to ask you about some of your idols as well.
Oh yeah.
Anything else you want to add just about these camps before we get you out of here?
Just show up ready to the camps, be ready to have some fun, be ready to interact. Make some friends, and just come with your learning cap on. It would be fun.
Well, we'll let you know all the info about how to sign up for these camps. We'll be doing reads and other posts about this here in the next couple of weeks. But we wanted to get this thing off the ground and start promoting this thing so that these guys can have a great experience on both sides, for the Grizz players as well as for the kids as well. So we appreciate you for hanging out, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Well, that was fun. Great debut. He's a matter-of-fact guy, really straightforward and really fun to talk to. And as I said earlier, crazy having that be his debut on this show, but also cool. And we're glad that the new era of Grizz football is here, alive and well. I think that there's a lot of things to appreciate about everything that's gone on the last 8 or so years, and there's also a lot of reasons to be excited for what's upcoming. Colter Nuanez live from Jewelry Design Center. You got about, I don't know, probably about 20 more minutes. Probably about 15 more minutes. If you want Post Malone tickets, you got to come in here, put your name in the box, get entered in to win tickets to the biggest show of the summer. We'll be hanging for a little while after 6, but I think they're probably going to close the doors right at or right after 6 p.m. But you got a couple more minutes, so if you're out in the area, come on down and put your name in the box, get signed up to win tickets to Post Malone and Jelly Roll July 21st at Washington Grizzly Stadium. One more break. Come back. We'll tell you about the fights that are coming up. July 11th at Big Sky Brewing, an MMA event descends upon Missoula. That's next. Keep it right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Appreciate Jewelry Design Center for hooking us up and setting us up. And I'm going to just say, if you're here, if you're going to get here in like 3 minutes, come down. But they're closing the doors at 6 p.m. They usually only stay open until 5, so we appreciate them We're keeping the doors open after 5. This has been a fun event, a great time, and these guys are one of our best friends here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. So if you are cool enough and engaged enough to come down, you got yourself a chance to win Post Malone tickets. Post Malone and Jelly Roll. Appreciate Jewelry Design Center for setting us up and hosting us. If you've never been here before, you need to come down and check this place out. It's an unbelievable showroom, biggest diamond collection in the Northwestern United States, but also it's the artisanship, the artistry, all that stuff that makes these guys one of a kind. I was talking to my new friend Jaden, and I showed her my wedding ring that these guys had designed. And they put in so much effort to it, so much detail. It's an awesome place. So we appreciate these guys for setting us up. And everybody that came down, thanks so much. If you missed anything in the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Fun show. Appreciate Dave Dickinson and Kaylee Ayat for swinging by and helping us talk all things Grizz football. And thanks so much for you to listening. One last thing, we got a whole bunch of tickets for you. We gave away probably 8 pairs today. But July 11th, at Big Sky Brewing Company, a full night of live MMA action with the Absolute Fight League. You have a whole bunch of fun fights, and this is proudly presented by Young Grizzly Harley Davidson. They're celebrating their 2nd anniversary with an awesome open house. They'll cap off the evening with an epic MMA event. They will also be offering VIP parking, shuttle services, all sorts of different things. Check out Absolute Fight Factory or Young Motorsports to find out more, or just keep it tuned in right here on Nuanez Now. We will be previewing this. We have a couple guests from the Absolute Fight Factory coming on the show as well. But this July 11th, we've given away, I mean, shoot, we've probably given away like 15 pairs of tickets already, but we're going to keep giving them away, and it's going to be a super cool event. So keep it tuned. We'll let you know what's going on, but we appreciate the Absolute Fight Factory and Young Grizzly Harley Davidson for their support of what we got going on here at Nuanez Now. Appreciate Hayden and Tommy for helping keep us on air. And thanks so much to the Jewelry Design Center as well. Tomorrow, Samuel Kim, he's going to sit in the chair, shotgun. A lot of times we're pre-recording, but he's coming to sit in the studio with me. We'll also hear from Ryan Tutel, some of his perspective on the year that was, a little retrospective from the best storylines from around the state of Montana. We also have Asher Kanapik coming on as well, the offensive MVP of the East-West Shrine game out of Kalispell Glacier, a future Montana Tech or Digger. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. In the meantime, have yourself a wonderful Tuesday evening and be good. This has been Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
You might be thinking,